What's up, Big Bear Nation? Welcome to our Saturday night live stream. Jason and I are probably running around adjusting lights, getting the live stream ready for you guys to watch tonight. So while we're doing that, I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about one of our oldest sponsors, one that is near and dear to our heart, and that would be Logox. Now, Logox came to us probably about 2 years ago, back in 2019, and we were getting ready to do our Grow Foods Not Lawns project. Jason, you're running the wrong way! Jason, run! Are you a freaking moron? And they were 100% on board with helping us out because we had to completely level out all the trees that were in our front yard and somehow move all of that wood out of the way so that we could put in some raised beds. So over at Logox, they sent us the forestry pack, and or some fancy name that they have for it. I'm a girl, I don't know all that stuff. But they sent us the full kit, and Jason absolutely loves this tool. If you live on a homestead and you have the potential to be cutting down trees, moving firewood, stuff like that, you absolutely need to have one of these. Promise you, you will thank me later. Well, your back will thank me later. Jason has been using this for the last 2 years. We just recently cut down all of these trees, so we've had to pull it out and start moving timber around, and we are so grateful that we have this tool. It is tough. I think Jason has even tried to break it and it just won't break. It's American made. It is a veteran owned company, which again is also very important to us. So if you don't have one of these, you definitely need to check them out. We'll have the link in the description, and it'll also be in the chat for you once we get started. Well, I think Jason and I are just about ready to get started. Grab your glass of tea, and we'll see you in just a moment. What is up, y'all? What do I do there? Nothing?
You don't touch it. Stop.
No touchy.
No touchy. Stop touching stuff and we'll be late some more.
I'm glad all y'all got a chance to see that. Some of y'all haven't seen that clip before.
Yeah.
We're sitting here.
And anytime the mods want to put up the spouse abuse hotline, and y'all can go ahead and call it on my behalf and say how I am just so abused because I get called.
Yep. Wanderlust. What's up?
Freaking moron. I had like an easy, I'll even go low and said that there was easy 3 to 4 feet between me and that tree.
No.
I will say the ladder didn't take it as well as
that was a different tree.
You're bringing up stuff we're not even talking about.
I'm sorry.
Look who's here. So, for those of you who don't know who these wonderful...
let me ask this.
Uh-oh.
Throw the little hand up emoji if you know who our guests are.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, let's do that. That's fair.
I mean, he is a celebrity, being on their first 48 and everything. I mean, they're sitting with a reality TV star.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna take all the oxygen out of the room.
My head's big all the time. It doesn't matter.
Spouse abuse hotline 1-900-MAKE-SANDWICH. I love Crystal. She's amazing. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, we got some hands up.
I know all the ones that are waving, so we're good.
There we go. I don't. I'm lame.
It's all right.
Well, for those of you that don't know, this is Jason and Lauren from Cog Hill Farm.
Not true. Not true.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's your man crush.
No, that is not true.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying. But what season is it though? It's like the one that you're
first
on.
48?
Yeah.
It's like 19 and 20.
Yeah.
17.
No, it's like I think it starts at 18, and then there's still episodes going, and then actually the before I left the homicide unit, there was a murder I started, and I'm actually still working on, even though I'm not in there anymore. And so they've sent that to edit, so that one will be out in the next year or so.
Gotcha.
It's a good one. I hope it. I'd like to see it. It's going to be a really good one.
Oh, I was saying bye. I don't know them. Sure you were there.
No, but this is Jason and Lauren from Cattywampus Homestead. They have
Acres. If you're going to look it up on YouTube, it's Cattywampus Acres.
Yes.
Okay,
So obviously,
every time you come here, I say Cattywampus Homestead. Catch the hint.
Okay, so apparently Jason, after we need to tell all of our subscribers,
3 years.
all these people on Instagram and our website that
It's not going to change nothing. They're going to know as soon as you change it.
It's Cattywampus Acres. Don't let Jason confuse you.
Oh, so they're actually on TV. No, Jason actually is very interesting. Jason actually works for the police department in a undisclosed, I don't know, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, we have a policy against that.
Yeah. So
For Google.
yeah. So, but anyway, for Google.
I do sort of work for Google. Any of us that are on YouTube sort of work for
Somewhere,
Google.
there you go.
A little bit. I stopped telling people I'm a cop. I just say I'm an influencer now. Just
There you go.
people like
Influencer.
influencers a lot better than cops.
Oh, that's funny. Oh man.
I'm a chainsaw operator today, though.
There you go.
Jason wore me out.
That was him and those bright green chaps in the
Yeah.
interesting in the
Safety attire. You gotta be safe.
I still have both my femoral arteries all intact, so looking good.
But
Thank God for that.
he did teach me some cool things about. Did you know a chainsaw had sights on it,
Sights?
like
It
a
does.
gun?
It has,
Really?
It has a
Yeah.
felling sight on it, yep, and it goes right down the middle, and you aim the felling sight, and that sends your tree the direction you want to send it.
Huh.
Yeah, Blaze and I probably, if we would have known that, we probably wouldn't have got called so many freaking morons.
I will tell you that particular, because there's actually 2 videos that we have where they were felling trees, and both times my blood pressure was ridiculous.
Well,
but
you get as soon as a tree makes a little pop sound.
when it makes that loud crack pop sound, I'm like, it's time to go. And he just sits there and waits.
I'm still hitting the come along.
It starts coming, and he's still just standing there and watching it. And I'm like,
I've been making sure it wasn't going to change its mind.
The young Jedi is still in training. We need
That's
to do some safety work with
We're
him.
gonna
so.
do some safety work.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the same questions I always ask. Did the tree end up on the ground?
Yes.
Did anybody die?
There was probably a squirrel or
dude.
2.
Any human being
Your
died?
ladder died in that one.
I was not in charge of that one. That was Kyle from Trip H Homestead. You know, saying.
So Kyle, is this the ladder?
He's like, we gonna make it fall this way anyway.
It went, and I'm gonna tell you that was stressful.
Yeah, we could have used you on that one because the tree was leaning back like this, and we tried everything, wedges and chains and trucks.
There's a way I should have showed you while it was still daylight. There's a way to plumb a tree with just your fingers, and you sort of go out to so if you go out to the widest branches on either side and just come in with your fingers and come down, it'll give you your lean side to side, and then you just go 90 degrees from that and do the same thing again. Widest branch, come down, drop down, and it'll show you how far your lean is one way or another. And then triangulating just with a stick. It's another thing you can, so you know where the tree is going to fall. And when I was in the school I went to, it was literally got to the point where I could figure out, okay, that part of the tree is going to hit right here. Stick a stick in the ground, and it would smash the stick.
We certainly could have used it.
Yeah,
Because I'm telling
big
you,
oak it was scary.
I thought
Oh, they
for
are.
sure we were going to lose our pump house. Like,
Oh,
you couldn't tell because if you don't know any better, you look at the size of the tree and you know how big it is. It's like, is that going to be close?
I will honestly learning the triangulation of
Mm-hmm.
just that it's an old Indian trick of or Native American. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
I'm Native American. I'm not offended. It's good.
Indigenous person. Sorry. So you literally you get a stick or some kind of something long and tall that goes to your shoulder, which is touch your cheek right there, and you stand it straight up and you look down over your thumb. And you put your thumb at your cut line, your soon-to-be cut line, and back up or go forward. And when the top of that stick is at the top of the tree, that is exactly where the top of the tree is going to fall.
Huh.
That's all free. You don't have to pay for it.
Robyn and Jason.
There you
I
go.
actually got trained by a guy named Tim Arn, who is, in my opinion, probably the best person that's ever touched a chainsaw. The guy is amazing. He's been on this old house and literally travels like 300 some days a year with his wife in this amazing motorhome and just goes and trains on on all the different kind of programs like we have and stuff. And he's like eats lunch with like the VPs and the presidents of like Still and Husqvarna and stuff like that. He's been in the forests of Sweden and cut down trees, and so
Nice.
pretty impressive. So when you have a good instructor, it always comes out good.
Yeah.
What's up,
Ethan.
Ethan?
Ding.
Ethan.
Ethan.
Ding.
Yep. So,
Jason was teaching me about bees today, and that was good. We're about
Yeah.
to start raising bees in our homestead, so I needed some guidance with that.
So we gave him one of our old swarm traps. So now, if you're not subscribed to Cattywampus Acres, go on over there, hit that subscribe button, and see if he listened to me or not, and see if he catches a swarm.
how do you know if he listened to you or not?
Because if he listened to me, he's going to catch a swarm.
Oh, okay.
I will see. I got lemongrass in my pocket right now. Not open. It's in a bottle.
Was I wrong about the predators?
No.
No?
We'd have no more predators. So Jason hasn't let us. He's only led us astray with calling us by the wrong name.
Which is a pretty big deal.
You might be at 100,000 if you were Cattywampus Acres.
Okay.
Wait, you mean Homestead?
I mean,
We
yeah.
are acres.
Is this guy serious?
He's having a hard time. He's tired, y'all.
I think that gray hair is starting to get to you there, and that beard there, buddy.
I'm
So,
sorry.
so we had actually a pretty good visit this afternoon. They weren't planning on staying this late, but we worked Jason like a Hebrew. Like a dog. Like a
You
Hebrew.
get real racist.
I mean, you were bringing out the Bible earlier saying God created the chainsaw. We still want to know what day
I don't know
that
what
was.
day that is, but I
So for all
I think it's
complaints,
89
for all complaints from today's live stream, please send an email to robynweir@gmail.com.
Anyway.
Or you can just send it to Cattywampus Acres home or Cattywampus
Homestead?
That doesn't exist.
Oh my goodness. So we had our St. Patrick's Day today. And we had our own corned beef today,
Tell.
which was really exciting.
We also had, were those barbecued beans or what were those?
Yeah, what kind of beans were those? Besides the musical fruit kind.
it's a recipe my mom has made for years. They're called Oregon beans, but they've got red kidneys. I used white kidneys instead of lima beans because for some reason my husband thinks lima beans are like Satan's creation. And then
He
pork
created chainsaws, not lima beans.
and then pork and beans because he will not eat lima beans, so I substituted those. But it's just bacon, onion. It's got a little bit of ketchup in it, brown sugar, beans, and it does have half a pound of cubed
Cheese.
sharp cheddar cheese.
Yeah, the cheese was
amazing.
Yeah, it was very good.
I absolutely loved it. It reminded me. It was really close to my Aunt Floyd's what she used to call barbecue beans.
Yeah.
And that had like 18 different beans in it, but it also had like ground beef and
she put ground beef
good.
in hers.
I'm not even gonna lie. I had 3 helpings of your beans today, and if you accidentally,
you're welcome, Robyn.
Hey, look, she had cabbage, and she had a healthy helping of cabbage.
I sure did.
Cabbage was good too, though.
The cabbage was delicious.
There's nothing better than being able to walk outside, pick out what you're going to have, and bring it inside and eat it. It's pretty cool. So Crystal said, I officially love cattywampus. They have baby goats. Yes, they do.
They do.
That's true.
Crystal has some goats as well. She has some Nigeria dwarfs, and she has a bigger one. What's the bigger one?
A goat.
Nubians? Or?
Nubian. Yeah, I think it's a Nubian.
We were pretty set on the new because we wanted a full size goat after raising the Nigerians for so long, and we were just gonna stick with the Nubians because that seemed to be everybody's go-to. But we sort of fell into some La Manchas, American La Manchas, and boy, we fell in love with those things. They are truly I think they're by far the sweetest animals on our homestead.
Their temperament is really
the La Manchas.
Yes, they are very, very quiet, and they're about a quarter as loud as the Nigerians. Nigerians are all day long, and the La Manchas literally are just make little.
Yeah. Well, we got Betty and Wilma from Cattywampus, and Cattywampus helped us find Barney.
Yes.
Yeah, a good friend of ours who actually helped us. It's a little small world when you really think about it. So a friend of ours, John, helped us process some of the American guinea hogs, which we got from
you guys.
here, and then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then.
So he's who we got the goat from?
Yep, and that's who Barney. That's who Barney came.
Well, there
from.
you go.
Process some
It's all big homesteading community, folks. You gotta keep it real.
Just keep on working it all together.
And hopefully the people you're friends with eventually learn the name of your farm.
Don't hold your breath.
I can't keep my kid's name straight.
Yeah, so her one is Nubian, is Leia. She looks like Jar Jar Binks, but he sounds like Chewbacca. Sounds like Chewbacca, but she's a lady, so she's Leia. I'm sorry, it's a girl, so they had to name her Leia.
Because they're deaf. Blaze thinks our goats are darn good. They have adorable little itsy bitsy ears, man. In the human world, it's good to have little tiny ears.
Have you heard the story about Jason?
No,
with the La Manchas?
and we don't want to talk about it.
Oh, please tell us. Please tell the world here. Did we not?
Oh, no, I think a lot of these people already know this one, but I'm going to tell you this one. This is hilarious. So when we lived in Grovetown, we had some friends who had goats.
Oh, and you are totally... Look, we knew nothing. This was the very beginning of our homestead journey.
This is Women's Month. Let her talk, man. This is Women's History Month.
So we had agreed to help them out. We agreed to help them out because they needed to go out of town pretty suddenly. So we told them we would take over watching their farm for a couple of days.
I already know where this is going.
So Blaze was milking cows at that point. So he knew how to milk. He could milk a goat. We came over a day or two before, kind of get familiar with him, everything. I took Blaze. So over the weekend, Jason had to take Blaze. And they get in the truck and they pull up the driveway, and she had 2 Great Pyrenees. But she had her Great Pyrenees shaved to look like lions. They had the big puffy mane, like no hair, and then the puffy tail, right? So Jason pulls up the driveway, and out come the La Manchas. Jason hits the brakes.
You see? No. The Great Pyrenees came out. I pulled up in the driveway. I was getting ready to get out. And the Great Pyrenees, they came out from underneath the porch. And I just shut my door. And then the La Manchas came back. And so I called them. And I said, hey, 1, you didn't tell me you had 2 lions. And 2, you must not have left enough food because they ate the ears off the goats.
I knew it.
He didn't know that Lamontrose didn't have the ear flaps. And he thought for sure they had eaten their ears.
That's usually, most predators typically go for the ears first. That's,
Right.
Yeah.
for a guy that does predator control, that seems
I thought she just had them trained.
Here,
my
eat
God.
the ears first before you consume the rest of the animal.
Oh, but it was so funny.
Yes, Jennifer says, do you notice the difference in taste? So recently, since this is our first freshening with the Lamanches, and our first go-around with milking them, I think that there is a significant different taste. And what I will say is this, Nigerian dwarfs have the highest butter fat out of cows and goats and everything else. They have almost 10% butter fat. And the Lamanches are right about 4.5, and I think that is a big, and cows are usually about 3.5 or so. So that's a big factor, in my opinion, on the taste. Also, we preach on our channel pretty heavy, is that we don't give any alfalfa to any of our goats. And so it's fine if you're just trying to get their protein up and stuff like that, but in our experience, and I think Lauren would agree, we would milk them, and if we gave them one little serving helping of either, it doesn't matter if it's pellets or if it's straight alfalfa, the next milking, you can smell it. It's like...
Really?
Yeah, it's
You
very...
just
and
taste
most-
the grass right in
yes.
the
I think
middle.
that's where the goaty
Flavor.
because people that eat our cheese are like, I don't like goat cheese, but I like your goat cheese because it doesn't taste goaty.
Goaty.
And I think that's there's no other way to. We noticed it when the alfalfa, when we took that away, is what changed that.
Yeah, and I think that's it. That's a big thing, and we do get a lot more milk, obviously, from the Lamanches. Lamanches do produce better, but I will say, like, if we take 1 gallon, which we got cheese on the good, I just remember. If you take 1 gallon of milk and turn it into cheese, and it's all Nigerian dwarf milk, we'll get about 7 5-ounce containers or so. With the Lamanches, we only get about 4.5-5% because so much more of it is like sort of like a skimmed down version of it. So that's one thing I do notice, and that's something to factor in if you're looking into really doing some serious dairy production. Is that I will say that the Nigerian dwarf, the quality of milk is incredible, and we have not. Do you guys have a cream separator? We've never.
No, that was going to be my question when you were done talking. Is when you're making your cheese and stuff, do you have to separate?
No, he doesn't remember.
No, I don't.
So last year, when we were doing the big plans for 2020, Lauren brought me a half a gallon of goat milk. Well, since we were like not used to drinking, because by the time you brought it to us, we had kind of been like, we're just not going to have milk. So we just weren't using it very quickly. So then the next time you came over to visit, I had this big jar of milk and it was just sitting in my fridge. And I was like, oops, we never drank the milk. And I'm like, well, I guess it's bad. You better give it to the pigs. And she's like, no, open it up and look. And it had already clabbered and it was kind of basically floating cheese. Yeah. And so we tied it up. We tied it. Yeah, you'll remember this in a second. We tied it up and let it sit and let the whey dry or drip from it. And then we put some, what did we do, like garlic and rosemary or something. We mixed it all together and they dipped it with like crackers or something.
Yeah.
So
cheese is all about aging and stuff. That's really, and we use rennet. We use animal rennet, which man, that stuff's incredible. A couple drops of it will literally turn.
A little bit goes a long ways.
It will turn 2, 3, 4 gallons into a solid curd.
Well,
or even just citric acid.
Yeah.
Lemon
In October,
juice.
when we start to, or November, whenever we start to truly start milking and doing all that, we'll go ahead and reach out to you. It'll give us an excuse to.
We do chef and we do mozzarella. We want to experiment with feta. We have a feta recipe that we want to make.
Not a fetish.
I thought you made.
Not a fetish. Feta.
I thought I had your goat feta
it's
at your
from
house.
a friend of ours.
Yeah,
So that wasn't yours?
We didn't make it.
Oh, I
That
talked
was-
about that to like everybody for like 3
well,
weeks.
it's fine because we're gonna make it.
It'll come.
She always, our friend always says the longer you brine it, the better.
Oh
it
yes,
is.
that's because we had that when we got it at first. It was good, and then it
Longer
was like
it
we let it
sits.
sit in there in the fridge in the brine for
I
like
would
6
put it on
months.
everything,
Yeah.
Oh god, I was just breaking off pieces and just eating it straight in.
Well, we
so
had it
fucking
with
good.
like raspberry jam
Yes,
and
I think
cream cheese.
I'm not Maybe it was Chev that I stuffed peppers with.
That's what I was thinking. It was that's what he's talking about, is the Chev.
Chev or Chevry, depending on how French or non-French you are. It's actually very good, and it's quick. It's 24 hours. It's 12 hours. Like currently we have some in our kitchen that's separating and fit in between curds and whey, and then we'll put the...
Next to a spider?
I knew it was coming. And then we'll just hang the cheese, the whey, what am I trying to say? Curds. Hang the curds in a cheesecloth, and 12 hours later we have Chev.
We'll salt it.
So, Anna asked, since you have all the fabulous goat poop you want, what are y'all planning to go with the goat cheese?
Goat
cheese. What do we put with it?
What are you planting to go with it? So what else are you planting this year?
We do rosemary. We're gonna have garlic. I want to make several preserves to put with it. Honey.
Thanks to some guidance, so we're gonna hopefully have some honey.
I put it on. My favorite thing is I'll make 3 eggs over medium. Usually I'll cook those in bacon grease. And then I'll top them with goat cheese and candied jalapenos.
Oh.
And it's my favorite.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good flavor combination. And Lauren's not rich. She's just sort of sensitive to hot stuff, and she'll tear up those candied
jalapenos are where it's at. We had some cowboy candy this past year. TJ Miller sent it to us, and I was like, I need this recipe.
Yes, they're so good.
It gave me an excuse to grow a lot of jalapenos this year.
Really, really good. It seems like it almost makes it hotter, but I think jalapenos out of the peppers, I think jalapenos are the perfect combination of heat and flavor.
Yeah.
It's something about when you pickle those things, man.
Have you had poblanos pickled?
Never had poblanos pickled.
So we have some. Before you leave, you need to try one. They're actually really good. There's a good flavor to those as well. Yeah. So Homestead in the Highlands, that's Cheryl. She was making some cheese last week from her milk. And it sat and it didn't do anything, and she figured out that her rennet was bad. No kidding. So she actually just used lemon juice, and
it does give it a little bit of a different flavor, where the rennet doesn't really flavor it too much. But I know in Greece that's like what they do all the time, and the funny thing is, to Homestead in the Highlands, our rennet we have comes from the UK, so. Funny.
So what she's asking about is like with the garden poop, the poop. You guys use a lot of the goat poop,
you don't?
We don't.
We use it. We could, but we just haven't messed with it. We'll move donkey poop because obviously they're all vegan animals, so you can use all their stuff. But
is goat poop hot, or is it like rabbit poop?
It's broke down. That's what I was going to say. Is the reason that we don't really use it is because, to be honest, first of all, if you've not been to Georgia, I don't know if you know this, it rains a lot here. Did you
I know, right?
And so,
every now and then we'll get around.
So basically, because the goats are so they chew their cud. They eat the long, the hay and all that stuff, and they bring it back up. It's weird with the La Manchas. It's so weird. You can see because their necks are so long. You see whoop 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 whoop.
Oh my gosh.
You see it going up and down the throat, and so they just chew and chew and chew. And so by the time it comes out, if we get 1 or 2 rains, it's gone.
Yeah.
And so if we were to let
small pellets,
I think if we were to let it let them just poop all over a pasture and then move them out and let it rain on it, I bet you we'd have a lush.
That's one thing that we're trying. That's why we're kind of bouncing them around a little bit on the pasture side around the edges, just to kind of see a little bit. Yeah.
I'm letting them clear it.
Yeah, no, they're clearing it, but they're also refertilizing, kind of taking some of that stuff and breaking it back down to...
they have cleared out areas that had briars in them that would probably take us 2 or 3 days to get to.
And they eat it like it's nothing.
Yeah, they just... Briars, poison ivy,
and they don't bother them
they love it. Mm-hmm. They love it. And that's when a lot of things people get confused on. They're always like, well, can we borrow your goats to eat our grass? And that is one difference about sheep and goats. Mm-hmm. Sheep are a grazing animal. Goats are a browsing animal. Mm-hmm. And so goats like to eat with their heads up. Mm-hmm. And actually, if their necks aren't stretched out when they're eating, it does tend to sort of mess up their system a little bit. And so sheep will trim your grass, which is nice, opposed to a cow or equine where they will just destroy it and rip it out.
Yeah.
Sheep actually trim the grass, but Goats will only eat the grass if that's the last thing they have available to
Yeah.
them. I actually saw we were talking about the goat poop. I saw that something was on the news not even that long ago where they're figuring out how to use goat poop for fuel. And I was like, man, I need to get one of those cars because man, we're set to go, man. I'm never going to a gas station ever again.
So, come on, Barney.
Yep, there you go.
I think I don't know if it would be quite as good for the garden as rabbit poop because rabbit poop's like the primo, and we were just talking about bat guano and stuff like that. Like that stuff's good, but I think it would definitely not burn anything. It wouldn't be too much nitrogen.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with the guano because it's probably one of the hottest poops out there.
Yeah.
Never did I think I'd be on the internet talking about hot poop before.
So you
wait, Wanderlust, I would like some garlic to plant. I'm just saying. I'll take some garlic.
Yeah, we did elephant garlic from Haas last year. It's good, but it's not. They don't even. It's not. It's more.
It's
of an
not a
onion.
garlic.
It's more of an onion than a garlic. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's like it's like garlic in shape and form, but it's
Flavor.
just massive. It's just not as
flavor is not
spicy.
very strong.
And then it grows. What are those called? They look like garbanzo.
Corms.
Corms. Corms. Corms. It grows corms in the roots.
taught him to spell.
And that's Corms. I spelled it right.
Taught them a lot of them.
Good job, Lauren.
Very trainable.
They grow in the roots of the elephant garlic, and then you can plant those and start more. So there's a bunch of them, but we want to do like a spicier garlic next and stuff. But we are always late on planting alliums. Like we are always bad about like we're supposed to be getting those in the ground like October, November, and we always have something else going on.
We're the same way. Now, when you start getting your own honey, okay, hit Robyn up for her infused garlic honey recipe
That sounds awesome.
for when you get cold.
It's really good for your health too, because garlic is naturally good for the heart. It's good for all of that stuff. So
it will knock the flu out.
I thought you were about
4
to
or
cuss
5
on here,
hours.
man.
and it's also really good for like flavoring too. So like if you're cooking chicken, like a garlic honey, glaze is also really good.
That sounds really good. That sounds good on some Chinese food. If you
Yeah. That would be good.
racist.
Oh my God, you're killing me.
We're covering all the bases tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
Or equal opportunity offender.
We're going to talk about all races tonight.
Oh man.
Again,
So
send all emails to
Cattywampus Homestead.
at gmail.com.
At www.doesn'texist.com.
So anyway, let's see what else.
Garlic, honey, and lemon honey. That's yes.
Now you built your greenhouse out of windows,
That is
right?
right. We did.
So the way we got those windows is I had picked our daughter up from middle school. This was last year. So she's in 8th grade, 14 years old. Pick her up from school, driving down the road. I see them all leaned up against a trash can on the side of the road. I stopped that Nissan and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, we're loading up these windows. They're not all going to fit in here. Well, we're going to make them. If you're riding on the roof, we're making them all fit in
I can shove you in the trunk.
So we get out and we are jamming. She goes, "Oh my gosh, load these up faster. Someone's going to see us." I was like, "I don't care.
I don't care.
These are awesome windows."
Yeah.
So we jam them in the trunk. We've got them loaded up in the back seat. She has to push her seat forward to fit more of them.
And she's not a
She's
short
mortified.
child.
She's mortified. She's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing." I was like, first off, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Secondly, this greenhouse is going to be awesome.
You have no idea what kind of
I
score
think
we just
had
made.
28 windows
Yeah, something
total.
like that. Right around 30.
And so we went home and then started the Tetris game of arranging them.
Right.
But that's how we got them.
Yeah. And
They were all free on the
the
side of the road.
funny part of the cherry on top of that is it's actually one of Hadley's friends from school.
That's true. She
That
did
it was
actually know people.
that had put them out to the trash. So we have a video on it on our channel, and it makes me wonder if they've ever watched the video and been like,
That's where
those
they
look
went.
like my old windows. So yeah, they're all single pane windows, and that's what you do.
Emma, thank you for
Yes,
the
yeah,
windows.
Emma, if you see it.
There you go.
But yeah, they're all single pane windows, which makes it really nice. And I will say, in summer, it does get out of control hot in there.
Yeah,
but
I
we're
bet.
gonna probably add a fan. We did run electric out there and put an outlet on there, but we used the heater a little bit in this past couple of month or two, and then a couple of the what am I trying to say? They go
Windows
underneath.
vents.
No, they go
Mats.
underneath. Yep,
Heat mats.
Heat mats. That's it, heat mats. And so we did that, but we've started we put our first row in the garden of non-brassicas just yesterday, and we have about 600 or 700 plants started in the greenhouse right now, and it's not even taking up a quarter of the space. And so it's about
How big is it?
about 8 foot by 8 foot, and we actually use those wire racks that everybody's got in their bedroom closets but they hate. We use those, and
They came out of my parents' closet, and all we did was turn them upside down, so the lip that usually comes out and goes down,
You turn
Those
it
white-
the
turn
other
it
way.
out the white.
comes out
Yeah.
and goes up, and so we just use the rack and zip tied them so that holds upside down, pretty much, and it's perfect width of the start
it's like
tray
12
Start
inches,
tray
and
and
so
the
it holds.
Really?
And
We
that's
can
how it
drop
goes.
the reservoir tray that you put your seed starter in and put it in there, and I think that's a lot of help
I mean,
to
and you
her.
can find those secondhand or just at Home
I got
Depot.
like
Perfect.
800
There you
of them
go.
in the shop
Yes,
out there.
they are
That's
awesome.
all they are.
And I will say, I think a big help with our seed starting this year, because we're not buying any seed starts this year. It's all from our own seeds or whatever. And
Plants.
plants. I'm sorry. And so we use the little small angular things. Then what do they make a whole bunch of different companies make them. Jiffy makes them, and they're really small seed starting pods, like 72 to a tray.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and opposed to starting them in a big 3-inch pot or something.
Let him struggle.
Nope.
Plug tray.
Yeah.
Okay, that I think made a huge difference because we're able, because with the except because we're gonna pot up the peppers. Basically, the nightshades are gonna get potted up, but the rest of them we put in plugs like that, and we don't really get transplant shock. They go in, and you got a nice root ball. You literally just pull them out, man. That is a huge difference.
So my problem with those is that my timing is never right on those. So my end up getting root bound because they get too big
happen,
and so I have to do the cups because otherwise it just doesn't work for me. So I end up planting, instead of just 1 or 2 seeds in each one of the little plugs, I'll put 4 or 5 seeds in a bigger cup, and by the time that I'm ready to plant everything, I'll have 4 or 5 plants in one, and I'll just gently put them, and we usually don't have any problem with any transplant shock or anything like that. We just make sure that we water in pretty good, and then everything's usually pretty well.
But
so.
I'm like you. I like the
Those
ones.
made a huge.
Have you
difference.
seen the
Because all
ones
you
that
do is hold the base of the plant, squeeze
just
the bottom,
squeeze? Yeah.
And
and they
then
come right out.
Haas Tools makes one that's like it's a heavy duty one.
Yeah.
I want to move up to those next
Yeah.
year because they're pricey. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie, but you can literally. Like Travis,
Hold it with one
walks around with them hanging down.
Yeah.
The
And then
flimsy
just-
ones when you're carrying.
Yeah. They're all
that's
over
the
the
ones
place.
from Jiffy that are $5.
Yeah.
Those ones, I'm gonna use them maybe 2 seasons, but
Yeah.
that's if I'm lucky. Where they have the 72 and the 162 maybe, and those things are solid as a rock. And then you just
It sounds almost like is it bootstrap
Yes.
farmer?
Yep, yeah.
Has the same
Bootstraps
kind
are
of
a lot
thing.
more solid like that, and so
Have you seen the ones that they're making now that are silicone on the bottom?
no.
So they now have ones
Oh, I
that
take
you
that
pop
back.
out that are like ice cube trays.
Tractor
with
Supply has them, but they are extremely way overpriced for getting like 8
Yes.
of them or something, and
Yeah.
that's for starting as many seeds as we
As
started.
right, for 600 plants,
Yeah,
like
I
that would
go
never,
broke.
yeah.
It'd be better off just buying them from the grocery store.
Yeah. So, okay, Misty asked, what is your favorite thing to grow?
I like growing cherry tomatoes. I can. It's like literally dropping me in the middle of a candy store, and we are growing this year. We're doing the super sweet 100s, which that's always our favorite. They're just a red like grape cherry tomato that are super sugary. Then we have we're doing Sun Sugars, which is a newer variety from Haas, which is like a Sun Sweet, which is the orange, but it's I guess they're a more sugary variety. And then we're doing the Yellow Pears, which are pretty sweet, but they're good. And then there's one more.
Planted some yellow
Sweeties.
pears.
Sweeties. This is another one from Haas that we're trying this year. And I can't get enough of cherry tomatoes.
We want to try dehydrating them. The cherries. The part of the problem is we need to have something to get into the house.
I planted a lot this year, so hopefully that
I
happens.
feel your pain on that.
Him
So
and
you-
Ellery, there's like
So you said you picked you have just 3 or 4 varieties, but how many
We are
How
gonna
would you
this year.
say-
We're probably gonna have a full 1 or 2 full rows in our big garden.
25 feet per row.
Yeah, and we grow them straight, so we'll have probably 25 to 30 cherry tomato plants this year, and so
Okay.
we should have plenty. And we grow ours vertically, and we sucker them as we go, and so we usually have to stop around July or August when the vine is 10 feet long and we can't reach it anymore.
Yeah.
And so we just top it and call it a day. But we've been growing the indeterminates like that for a couple of years now, and I honestly would never go back to anything. The Romas we leave. The Romas because they're determinate. That's the determinate variety. We cage them, or I want to try the Florida weave. You guys ever tried the Florida weave?
We haven't tried it, but I'm familiar with it.
Definitely want to try that this year. But we grow in the garden fabric, the cloth, and so that's a big lifesaver because we had some area last year that did not have cloth on it. And it made you not even want to go in there.
Oh, yeah.
Especially being that it's only the second year we're planting in there. And so you're still fighting everything that's trying to come
Johnson grass and all of that.
So when
just
once you
nastiness.
get established, you're like, it won't be so bad 5 years from now, but we're not 5 years from now. And so that's why the fabric really saves a lot of time.
For us having full-time jobs, and you guys, it's like
Yeah.
I can't spend all day out there weeding. And then with the tomatoes, when we're suckering tomatoes, you have to go out there, every day and spend time with them anyways.
You gotta pick okra every day.
Yeah, okra. If you don't pick that every day,
eyeballs.
the goats don't even. If it gets to where it's really fibery, the
Woody,
goats don't even want to eat it.
Our pigs won't touch it.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
Nope.
And we're doing hibiscus this year, which I'm really excited about, which is an okra, the okra family. So, but yeah, cherry tomatoes are mine.
Now you're talking about dehydrating tomatoes. We have a long time friend of ours that's been with our channel since the beginning, just about old ways, new times. Now she's got a video out on it, I think, but that's all she does with her tomatoes. She dehydrates them and then cans it.
Well, she turns it into powder.
And because she'll grind it up, turn it into powder, and then she cans that and puts that up. So then, when she wants to make tomato sauce or whatever, she just takes as many tablespoons or whatever that she needs out of that jar, and is able to close it right up. And it saves. She says she saves so much space doing that way.
That's what we do at my work. We make a tomato soup mix that's got tomato
Cut, yeah. And that's what she was telling us, was that she can make tomato soup, ketchup, whatever she needs. She just reconstitutes it and gets it,
We said they're getting yellow pears in mid-December. That's awesome. Is that in a high tunnel?
No, she didn't have a high tunnel.
Grow yellow pear. I was still getting them in mid.
That
I don't know how she
What
was still
state
getting
is
them
that?
in mid. No, she's right up the road from
Right up
us.
the road from us.
I don't know how she was getting
what
pepper
the-
She must have moved them. Must have had them in a container.
inside
moved them
or
inside
something, because mine all died back well before December. We had our first really hard frost the beginning of November, and everything was smush after that.
We didn't have too many frost days this past winter, which was good.
No, not many, but
So-
we had them.
Wakatomika said, you sucker tomatoes. I'm anti-sucker.
Yeah, and I
There's
know.
always
That's
some people who want
we're using mainly we're using a lot of seeds from Haas this year, and Haas Baker and just some random ones or whatever we've gotten. And I know Greg and Travis at Haas, they are big on they don't understand why anyone would sucker a tomato, but with us, honestly, we were just talking about it earlier. As long as you find the top bloom, and we sucker below the top bloom, and then you find the bottom fruits, and we defoliate below the bottom fruits. And so it keeps the airflow through. We grow up tomato twine. Everything's accessible. It's right there.
You just find it lessens disease. It lessens, especially with the humidity.
We've had
find
no
great
tomato
success
diseases
with it.
in the last couple of years.
So I'll tell y'all, when you guys came for my birthday, I hadn't put them out yet, but I was basically taking suckers off of existing plants. Yeah, I think you saw that part. We were putting them in water in a mason jar right by the windowsill. I'd let them get really good roots, and then I put them out right where we were with the tree. And because I had them out there where it was a little bit easier to maneuver around, I did take the foliage off the bottom of those. It was easier to do it that way. And I did notice there was hardly any, I didn't have any issues. They grew super fast. And so I plan on doing that again this year. I plan on going in and cleaning all the foliage out below the bottom fruit.
That's how she's getting around the thing that she announced in the Naked Gardeners video when they came to us. She's like, I'm only starting X amount of tomato seeds.
Just because you only start 1 or 2 doesn't mean you can't finish with hundreds.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I have like 24 cups in there.
Which will turn into-
But each
About
one of
100.
those has like 5 plants in each one, 4 or 5 plants. So you're probably at 100. And not all of them will make it, obviously, right? But there's probably like 10 cherry varieties and like
So good.
and like, well, Baker Creek has a new one called like the Sweetheart tomato.
Yes, yeah.
And so I grabbed that one and we planted some of those and I did the yellow pears and just a bunch of fun ones. We kind of stay away from the, I don't want to call them hybrids, but the wild boar ones with all the different, like the cosmic grape and all those.
Well, we
just
planted
don't.
that cosmic cherry one this last year because Jess swears up and down by it.
No. You're talking about the blueberry cream.
Or whatever. And she swears up and down by it. And
not good.
I would. Sometimes you'd pull one and it would taste great. Other times it would.
We grew some chocolate cherries. And those were good. And then we don't do any steak tomatoes, I'll be honest. We don't do any beef steaks or anything. And I like tomato sandwiches and stuff with cheddar cheese. And don't judge me.
Oh gosh, you guys.
Miracle Whip.
Oh, yeah.
I'm from Michigan.
You guys
Man.
have that fight all the time.
Miracle Whip, man. It's just mayo does not.
See, I actually
touch.
forgot that you were one of those people.
It doesn't. Miracle Whip has a chemical reaction with the tomato that just makes it heaven in your mouth. And then you put the cheddar on there, man, it just takes it to another level. And then if you got bacon, especially your own bacon, then you're really rocking and rolling out.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. But yeah, we don't do any of that. We had this year from Baker. We're doing. We started black zebras. No, black beauties. Black beauties. Green zebras and the versinage.
You're
Versinage.
busting my chops about getting
So
into
the green zebras are amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the green zebras are one of the things that we noticed here that happened here, and maybe it's just because they're Elberton bugs, but and they have a lower level of education. That they didn't mess with any of the tomatoes because they were still green. They
didn't think they were ripe.
They didn't think they
So
were
they
ripe.
left them
Passed them
alone.
by.
So
They
what-
literally went right past the green zebras to get
the
right to the
next.
Romas or to the.
Yep. They wouldn't touch on them.
Wanderlust is talking about how to keep bugs on the tomatoes, and honestly, I think we saw it firsthand last year. And that's when I watched Row by Row, the Row by Row Garden Show with Greg and Travis. And one thing they are real big on is crop rotation. And Travis, they grow in like 30 by 30 plots. But he's got like 10 of them. I mean, not all of us have access to that.
Right.
But I found the first year we grew tomatoes, we had in that enclosed garden, which is about 30 by 30, we had like no bugs. You know, a couple of tomato worms here or there. The next year we grew in there, they were all over the place.
Squash bugs too.
Squash bugs too, and squash bugs because what it is if you don't rotate nightshades, if you don't rotate the families, either nightshades, cucurbits, alliums, or anything like that, if you keep growing the same family in the same area in the same dirt, they are most definitely your bugs are going to quadruple every single because they overwinter, and just like bees or anything else, and so they're just chilling in there waiting, literally chilling. Just waiting for you to plant more nightshades in there, and then when you do, they're already ready and strong. So
What does he say?
This Buckeye opposes your Michigan ways.
well, that's why he doesn't suck because he's so Buckeye.
Yeah, he's a Buckeye.
Wolverines, baby, go blue.
I could live on Miracle Whip and tomatoes.
Yes, yes. It's so when Lauren and I got married, I don't know if it was, she just thought that because
What are you about to say? Are you going to make me mad with whatever you're about to say?
You've been batting 100 all day.
I usually am pretty good about that. No, she just when she got Miracle Whip and and it was just like to her growing up, that was
my grandma just called it salad dressing.
Yeah. And so it was.
It says salad dressing on the container.
But for growing up the way we grew up, that is.
You realize I'm from Michigan, right?
I know. That's what I was
that's
like.
what I said. I said the way we grew up. That's mayo. And so like we have Dukes and everything up there, but like when you ask for mayo up in the north, like or in certain places, they give you Miracle Whip. And even Quick Trip down here has it. And every time I'm at work and I'm going in there to do anything, man, I'll grab a handful of the Miracle Whip packets just so I can have them in there just in case you get a sandwich in the middle of the day.
There you go. Yep. Yeah, I always, the only time I ever saw Miracle Whip used was for making like coleslaw, chicken salad, that kind of stuff. You would use the Miracle Whip.
So like, I think potato salad with Miracle Whip is another level too. Like it's because mayo's good, and I will eat mayo, and don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have a tanginess that
I will tell you, my husband is passionate about a lot of things.
Miracle Whip is one of them.
When I invest my time and effort into something, it's hard to take me down.
You would think you have stock in Miracle Whip.
I don't have any stock in it.
You should probably reach out for him for a sponsorship.
There you go.
Yeah, so if anybody from Miracle Whip's watching,
We're gonna make all our
I don't think they're watching my channel.
You never know, Jason.
Where I grew up, people had salad cream rather than mayonnaise.
What is that? You'll have to elaborate.
She's
on that.
from Scotland.
Right.
Well, she's actually English, but she's living in
I'd love
Scotland.
to know what salad cream is. Is it like sour cream?
It's probably another word.
Homestead
for
in the
Miracle
Highlands is the only channel that had scared Robyn into not doing a cooking video.
Do you know that she's actually, it is it's a reference in our house. If you start to cook something with oil and you start putting stuff in there and it's too much, Carol will be like, no, don't do a Homestead in the Highlands.
Miracle Whip should lower your credit score. Yeah. This guy outside, where is it? I'm going to find this guy.
He actually turned us on to, we haven't grown it yet.
So we're going to do it this year.
But we're going to do it this year, is sorghum. He grows a lot of sorghum.
We tried it in Dollywood.
Sorghum, like...
Syrup,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's like, we never grew that.
Well, we were at a theme park, so anyways. There was a guy with a old mill with his horse that he was doing. It was really cool.
Yeah.
They have a video. It's a while back. You'll have to look through like photos or something on the Big Bear Nation. But he posted it when they did it last, like maybe 2 seasons ago. It might not have been last season. I can't remember. But
so salad cream is if it's tangy with vinegar, you basically have just made Miracle Whip.
Yeah.
So you're eating Miracle Whip. Power across the pond, man.
She's like, glad I'm a household name. Yeah, so we were talking about doing a collaboration of doing a cooking thing, and she was gonna make fish and chips, and then we would do it over here. And so, but she was making the chips.
She was making the chips.
And she started to make her chips. And now keep in mind, this is not a live show. This is a video she's put out. And I'm watching it on the couch. And she starts throwing in all of these potatoes. And she keeps putting them in and keeps putting them in. And the oil's getting like almost all the way to the top. And I'm screaming at the TV. Stop! You're gonna start a fire!
She's grabbing my leg and squeezing. I'm like, we can't do anything. She's already made this video. We don't.
I she had a fire. But she has their way that their stovetop is. I think it's a flat surface and it brings the heat up. So it's not like with me, I cook over open flame.
We have the glass, man. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we have the gas, and so if I were to do that, we would need a new house. So Jennifer said first time I had Miracle Whip. It's funny because it says medical whip. I'm sure it was an accident, but it's still kind of funny.
It is like medicine to me. I don't know.
Miracle Whip. I thought the mayo was rotten.
So this, you know what? This year we need to get together. when the tomatoes are in.
Do a tomato sandwich.
Do a tomato sandwich.
Bye, Terry.
And do it blindfolded.
I'm down. I'm definitely down.
We'll bring we'll bring a tomato. You guys do a tomato, and we'll do 2 sandwiches of each tomato.
So, because here's the thing.
So what we were just seeing if we can tell if it's mayo or miracle. Oh,
Hands down, no problem.
Jason's got it. Yeah.
But I think I might convert you over to Miracle Whip.
Well, you convert me over.
Because it's like how certain plants complement other plants. Like you want to grow them next to each other and certain don't like each other, whatever. I think that Miracle Whip complements a tomato to absolute perfection.
So this begs the question, though. You just said you don't do beefsteak tomatoes. So what kind of tomatoes do you prefer?
We do like
a
a Better Boy or something like that. And in dire situations, I will cut up a bunch of precious cherry tomatoes and put the little.
That's too much work.
It is a lot of work, but it's worth it.
I wouldn't put it past him if he just took a cherry tomato and dumped it in a miracle.
Do you have a camera in the refrigerator?
He just made a bowl of cereal, which was tomatoes and Miracle Whip.
Yes.
Wait a minute now.
Yeah, you just made that. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
Sounds delicious. Huh?
Mayonnaise. A little mayonnaise and just put the tomatoes in there and salt.
I have a cousin who wanted it for, I think it was his birthday or must have been graduation. He was really into Miracle Whip, a lot more than me. They got him one of the Sam's Club.
Oh my gosh!
And your dude would eat it with a spoon, man.
That's a lot.
That's pushing it for me. Like I value my innards a little bit too much for that.
That's what I'm thinking. So Cheryl said, "I love a thin line of Miracle Whip all the way along a stick of celery."
Ooh yeah! I can even get a piping bag for this and sort of decorate a cake with it. Now we're talking.
Oh, well, I mean, they do have mayonnaise cake, right? So, Miracle Whip cake.
Back in the day, I was a youth group leader, and so one thing I learned real quick is you got to mess with teenagers. You got to trick them and stuff like that. And so we had one of the things we had to do was we were going to do some kind of ice cream eating competition. Well, if you don't know, if you freeze mayo, it looks just like vanilla ice cream.
Oh, no.
And so we got like 4 kids up, and 3 of them get bowls of vanilla ice cream, and 1 of them gets a bowl of frozen mayo. And the kids in the ice cream would say, who can eat it the fast? And of course they're all like, oh, I can eat ice cream so fast. And so 3 of them are just killing it, and one's like, it tastes like pickles and gross. And so then finally you tell them, and it's like they want to go throw up. We also did the same thing with, you do caramel apples, but you can dip an onion in caramel, and it looks almost identical. And then seeing those kids, like seeing a teenager just chow down on a caramel onion, it is fantastic. Fantastic. If you have teenagers and you don't mess with your teenagers, you are missing out because they are the most fun to mess with.
They're a lot of fun to mess with, yes. I think we have some caramel onions in our future.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't mind that. I would eat it.
Well, I'd say bring Ladessa and Carolyn on the live and have them eat them right here. Like, you know what? You've been so good this year. We decided to make you some
ice cream social in our life. You know what the worst part is probably our most loyal fan is our daughter. Ladessa always watches all of our videos, including our lives. So she's probably in the background right now taking notes.
Well, at least you got that going, because ours think like it's like torture to watch any of our videos. They think
no, she watches all of y'all's. She is a very loyal YouTube
She watches
consumer.
all of Jess's and the hollers, and y'all's,
yep.
ours.
Yep. And it's so cute because she'll come out and she'll be like, did you know that Miss Lauren had her baby goats? Yes, dear, I saw.
That's what I think. I was talking to somebody at work about it, and I think that's one of the weirdest things about having a YouTube channel is that, like, I will go to explain something to somebody at work who's asking about the garden, and they're like, yeah, I know, I watched it on your last video, and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, you already know my life because I put it out there. And
yep.
It is sort of a weird thing to get used to, and if you do if anything's closer to like a vlog style, like they know your chores, they know your routines.
There's a little boy that comes into, I think he's special needs. I think he might be autistic, but he comes into the store and we always have a big long conversation. And I said, well, here's our business card. I said, check out our YouTube channel. And his mom was like, oh, he loves YouTube. He'll watch YouTube. And he comes in the next week and he goes, I watched you guys kill that pig and you guys cut that pig open. And I was like, oh my, I didn't know you'd choose that video. His mom was like, he wasn't interested in it. Like, Jason was eviscerating, we were processing the pigs. I was like, not the one I thought you'd choose, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was like, wow, I can't believe you guys did that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys, it's like it almost gets to a point where you don't really have too many secrets as far as that kind of stuff goes anymore.
So this, from Fuller to Fullest, says my 2-year-old knows all of you by name. So now that was really cool. Like when we first started doing live streams, we actually there were some subscribers along the way that they had young kids, and they would wait for live streams. And I remember seeing a picture somebody had sent us of their like 2 or 3-year-old like up at the screen, like just like all up trying to find.
Well, at the shindig, Robyn, there was this one little boy that was just smitten with Robyn.
Well, and he knew us. See, that's the thing that you don't realize is like when you have as much exposure as we all get. I mean, you guys get a lot of views on some of your videos, and so there's people out there that you'll never know, and this little boy just like walked up to me, and he was at the table, and I mean, he was so small he could barely see up over the table, and he was just staring at me, and I was like, yeah, this is a little strange. And I was like, can I help you? And he's like, and his mom grabbed him and she's like, baby, you're not supposed to stare. Mom, it's her. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, he watches you all the time. And I was like, do you want to take a picture? And his eyes got like, and he was like, it was the cutest thing. And that's what I think is really cool is like, there are times when, you can kind of be like, God, this is exhausting doing this. Like, putting these videos together, doing all the editing, putting, all the content together, not just throwing stuff out, but then you have, like, experiences like that, and it's like, that's pretty cool.
Then you also get the creepy ones when you're, like, in Best Buy looking for a new washing machine, and there's a couple just staring at you. And I leaned over Robyn and I said, I think we're going to be recognized.
This was in Anderson. Like, it's not like real close to the house. I mean, it's about an hour away,
And she's like, no.
Or no, Greenville. We were in Greenville.
I'm like, they're staring awful hard, Robyn. I'm not that good looking.
What's up, Joe?
At least you know it, but okay.
Finally, the lady was like, excuse me.
Well, we heard her ask
she
asked the Best Buy guy. She said, do you know if these washing machines will use like homemade, detergent? And I looked at Jason and he looked at me and I was like, she's like,
excuse me, do you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, she goes, I think I watched your homemade laundry soap.
You didn't eat the Tide Pod, did you?
It was before the Tide Pods. It was still the liquid one, but yeah, it was so funny.
So I was like, okay. She's like, did it hurt your washing machine? And I was like, nope.
No. But I will say we're learning that it helps to do like a vinegar rinse every once in a while. That kind of helps kind of break down some of the soap buildup or whatever. And I'm sure it would probably be good on with regular detergent as well. So then once we meet, what now? That'd be me, but I'd make eyes at Jason. TJ Miller said, LOL, Jason, that's going to be me. Then once we meet, I'm going to hug you and just hold on a little too long.
You get those people.
I'll save some of them for you.
Well, that was kind of funny with Lone Star Living. We've known Jonathan for a very long time, and he's
our success story.
Yeah, he has a very special place with us, and he went from complaining that, of course we could do what we were doing because we have the land that we have, and he lived in an apartment and couldn't do anything. Now
his dream was to have a homestead. And, as things were progressing along, we were just trying to encourage folks to live more sustainable and grow what you could where you could. And he was just having a bad day one day, and he kind of lashed out at us, and he was the sole inspiration behind the Grow Foods Not Lawns.
That's why we took down all of our, and we were like, we can do this, and you can do it too.
It exploded. Then we got to meet him at the shindig.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is that when we met him at the shindig, it was like...
Yeah. Now his homestead is bigger than ours. He has sheep that he had his first lambs.
Dorper sheep, I think.
Yeah. And it was...
Is that right, Jonathan?
It really made our millennium when we were the first persons that he shared the lambing with. Now, of course, he told everybody else that they were having a baby long before us.
You knew you weren't gonna live that one down, Jonathan.
But yeah.
But they're amazing people, and it's another good story with them is, they were a lot of times in this kind of stuff. One spouse will be a little bit more into it than the other, and usually the other one will come around, or sometimes not. I do have quite a few friends who the wife is really into it, and the husband's just like, as long as it stays out of my way and it doesn't cost me any money or a lot of money, go ahead, But he was kind of in that situation where his wife was kind of like, no, I don't really want to do all this. To where when she came to the shindig, like, it just lit a fire.
Started helping Jess with the plant sales, and then they're supposed to be coming out here pretty soon to visit.
It's not my fault he's blaming USPS.
Yeah, sure enough, our Christmas card came in January.
No, I think it was before that, but it was funny because a couple of people were posting on Facebook, talking about it on their YouTube videos. I think Jess, was all excited and showed it on her YouTube video, and I was like, oh, Jonathan's having a baby. So this one gets on it. He's like, dude, I have to find out through YouTube that you're having a kid? He's like, sorry.
What, you didn't get your Christmas card?
In the background, he's like... No, I don't know.
Filling out the Christmas card real quick.
I knew there was somebody I forgot.
The stamp on it.
We got to give him a hard time.
I think they inspiring people to let them know that no matter how big or how little your area is, that you can always grow something. I think that's really that's what we try and strive for and focus on. Because a lot of the people I work with that follow us, and they don't have much. They have apartments and stuff and some pots and everything. And
do we know?
What?
I didn't know we knew. Did we? I think maybe we do.
He told me.
Oh, he told you. See, he and and that's kind of traditional. I don't just reach out to men and talk to men. It's just kind of a thing, I don't think you did, but it's okay.
Well, the secret's safe with me because I forgot.
He doesn't even know. I'm surprised he even called us Jason and Lauren.
Well, he can't forget Jason. He probably just said, "Hey, you."
I don't know if I put that past him, Lauren. Let's just be real here.
I only remember the ones that mean something.
Burns a little bit.
Wow. So anyway, how is everybody adapting to daylight savings time? Did it kick your butt this week?
I love it. I love it because this is when you can legit homestead now. Cause
no. I get that stuff, with the time, the sun coming out, but oh my god, it killed me.
I get up so stinking early now for work that it's it's not even really that noticeable. I just love having an extra hour
when you get home.
Yeah, because that's working a 12-hour shift. And working 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Yeah, when you're coming home.
I was getting home in the dark, man. And I was good luck doing some farm chores or filming for my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
that stinks. And then she was stuck with, whatever nighttime chores we had to do or anything like that. And that stinks. So.
Yeah. No, on that aspect, I love it. But Like normally I would set my alarm and get up at 6. This past week, trying to climb out of bed at 6 was so hard with it still being dark. It was really rough.
Always hard to get up.
No, I normally pop right out like 5:50. I'm like out of the bed, and like this
Now,
past
y'all been
week,
in this lifestyle now, what, 5 years?
No, a couple years.
3?
3,
3,
yeah.
Well, our third wedding anniversary is this June.
Yeah.
Gosh, it seems like it's been so much longer that we've known y'all.
Jason's so confused right
Jason's
now.
like,
I don't even know what he's confused
You
about.
guys had a 16-year-old son.
No, I thought you guys were knocking on the door like 5 or 6.
No, it's only been a few. Yeah.
They had
Y'all
just
are still
recently, they had just recently gotten
What about
married.
this has been a honeymoon? I mean, I love you, but
Why?
I love you, but
No, but I think we've made a lot of progress homesteading wise, and in my opinion, I think the biggest progress is our orchard, our little mini orchard food forest that we started, and we had a tree that was at our wedding in June of 2018 that was in a pot. It was just a 6-foot whip snow angel peach tree, and now we're gonna have to. We planted it right after the wedding, and now it's 2021, and we are about to be pulling, probably in another 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to be pulling hundreds of peaches off this thing. That's incredible. And then we have, more peaches. We have plums. We have apples and pears, and all of it's in a 40 by 30 area. And that, I'll be honest, that I was sort of inspired by Luke and M.I. Gardner, and just talking about and bringing up how pollinators. If you plant your trees close together, your pollinators can just go
From
flower
one
to
to the
flower,
other,
and then
right.
they sort of eventually your canopy covers up the ground enough for where it keeps the flora down there nice and
Shaded.
everything shaded, so you're not cooking all the worms and everything. And then I think Paul Gauchi's another good one where he teaches you that like. It doesn't matter if it's supposed to be a 50-foot tree. You can keep it an 8-foot tree. You just prune it.
you just have to prune it.
And we spend a lot of time on our channel talking about pruning everything. Like when we started pruning our peppers grew by tenfold. We started pruning our fruit trees properly. Poof, you can literally do whatever you want. And the same with the tomatoes, and even we improved certain squash and stuff. And that's what we're growing some gigantic pumpkins. And I think at least 1 or 2 of the ones that I started, which they already look like they're on steroids, are insane.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, they're in the 4-inch pots, and man, the stems on them are already this big, and
wow,
they're Atlantic giants. But I think on a couple of them, I'm going to prune everything. Just let the leaves and like 1 or 2 fruits grow, because when you take all that energy
and put it into
one fruit or like a group of fruits, instead of just letting that plant sprawl across the world like it wants to do. It just makes sense to me. You know?
That's why I'm a firm. I definitely am for suckering tomatoes, because those things are not really doing, much good by themselves. They're draining energy from the plant, so.
Because they just want to be lush green. All plants want to do that. They want a bunch of leaves, and they want a bunch of vines and stems and everything. And so if I don't want to eat tomato leaves and vines and stuff like that at all. So I want to eat some tomatoes. So with some Miracle Whip. And so I'm just trying to.
Miracle Whip. We definitely need to do that though. Come like 4th of July weekend.
So what's your choice of mayo? Which mayo is the best?
I like Duke's.
Whether Duke's, Blue
Ribbon, Blue Plate, or whatever it is.
What kind of mayo is there?
There's
Kraft, yeah.
I'm just talking about the big names. I'm not talking about.
Kraft is a big name.
I know.
Are you guys doing any? You don't bring in any chickens, or do you like from the hatcheries, or do you? Because I know you have quite a few.
We've been using Murray McMurray for
our layers.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years.
We've never done meat birds.
Okay.
We've debated it. It's just the thing with.
Some of the
as
layers
you know,
have
with meat
become
birds, you have to be prepared before you even get them.
Oh yes.
Because the grow out is so fast.
It's very quick.
We've just not nailed down the being prepared part before we order them.
I will tell you that's probably the wisest thing I've ever heard, because from somebody who's fumbled through it enough times, your losses are catastrophic when you're not prepared, when you don't have everything set up exactly the way. And I'm not even talking about just your brooder area for your chicks. As soon as those 4 weeks are up, you have to be ready to take them straight out to grass. And if you don't, every day that they're still in that brooder, you're running the risk that you're going to lose them because they're getting too big, too crowded. Yeah. You got to get them outside. And if you don't have that timing...
later in the season, you can move them out at 3 weeks. And
Yeah, when it's hotter outside, you can do it later, a little bit sooner. But, if you're not ready, you should have everything ready to go before they even get to your house. You should have your temperature already, that's why our seed room, everything's going and it's already warm because we're expecting chicks in 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll go ahead and get everything cleared. We got to get everything cleaned out, change out the bedding, and be ready for them. Because if you're not, it definitely can make a difference. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I just think so much of our effort now has been to our new milk barn. Because we knew we were having kids, we'd be back in milk.
Right.
So much of our efforts have been towards that. Because everything's on a time clock in setting, whether it be your seasons, whether it be... your
babies coming,
anything like that. Your time to be processing stuff like that. That's where all of our efforts. So if we've always ordered from Murray, McMurray, they've been awesome. When we do meet birds, we'll get from them. But we've never done.
Have y'all done? Y'all haven't done turkeys,
have
you?
Done ducks.
We've butchered turkeys.
Yeah,
we butchered turkeys, but we didn't raise them from. We had her.
My boss got them somewhere,
okay.
And it's funny how different a turkey that is farm raised is from a butterball. Like you're talking there's so much more. They're lankier. The breast meat is mainly where you're getting majority of the meat in a regular turkey, in a non-domestic turkey, whatever. And, I think that was really interesting and eye-opening when we butchered those two in our video, and is that. It's interesting when you do it different. I mean, so it's I'm butchering an American guinea hog compared to a Maishon or a Berkshire or something like that. It's crazy because they're the same animals with the same parts, but everything's in all different kinds of arrangements, and you have fat where you don't normally have fat, or muscle where there's not a lot of muscle on another one, and so it's really interesting when you start opening up different breeds of animals and stuff like that. And
then how you raise them can make all the difference.
So far in your journey on this road, what has been your biggest frustration and what has brought you the most joy?
You say me.
Good night, Wonderlust.
What if I said you're the best joy? No. I think the biggest frustration is honestly it's the learning curve that every farmer, grower, anyone has to go through. And losing an animal is really hard. Eventually you're like, oh crap, the hawk got the chicken. But still we lost a goat at 6 months old because she got pneumonia. There's nothing.
Jesus, what'd you do?
Oh, jeez.
Lost a goat.
Good night.
Lost a goat, broke a chair. That scared me. Anyway.
Jason was going down.
So, lost a goat.
Yeah, I think losing animals is the biggest frustration, especially when you've done everything that you can. And sometimes there's nothing that you can do, and that's hard to accept. I think the biggest joy is when you have a plate that you're feeding your family that you grew and raised and processed all of it.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
This sounds I don't know if it's petty is the right word. I honestly, in homesteading in Georgia, I think the biggest frustration is the heavy amounts of rain. I know that sounds really stupid, but I feel like the learning curve, we learn it. We learn it. That's the thing. We weren't that good at gardening last year. This year we're going to be awesome at gardening. And the animals just sort of came. I don't know, for some reason the goats and the chickens, and I feel like they've been very easy. Even in the pigs. Once I eviscerated one and it was like, okay, we can do this, and then we did 3 the next time and stuff, and it wasn't a big deal, but. I think when we get I guess in general the weather in homesteading can completely make and break you
Because
everything
you can
you
have
do.
a storm and it wipes out all your corn. You can have a storm and it floods all of your your
seeds.
beds.
You could have just put
okay.
seeds out, and the next thing you know,
Yeah.
nothing.
Or the weatherman, you're called to have a cold snap, so you go ahead and drop a big Berkshire pig, and you got it hanging, and all of a sudden the next day
70
it's
degrees
70
outside.
degrees, and
Yeah.
you gotta drop that pig and pack him in ice.
Yes, we got poured on rain when we were butchering our first
We're
time.
trying to heat the water and
Yeah, and it's like
raining.
I'm
It's
trying to
raining.
get the temperature up, and it's raining cold rain
Yep.
down into there, and it gets dark because it took so long, and it was
Yep.
just it was.
But I think everyone's gonna have frustrations in every, region, no matter what
Right.
similar or different they might be. But I think your perseverance is gonna have to,
Yeah.
because you can't live this lifestyle.
You can't
and
be a
not
sissy
persevere.
and live this.
No,
Because
you
if
cannot
feel like,
be.
oh well, I failed at that. I'm just not gonna do it. Well, okay, well, like you're just not gonna grow stuff, and you're just.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't want people to have that attitude, but first off, you are capable, and you're gonna make mistakes, but that's just not with homesteading.
That's
That's
in
life.
life. Yeah.
That's life.
I think the most rewarding thing is like you were talking about earlier is when someone is inspired by you and someone starts like we have several friends at work and I would love to get out of the job that I do and eventually and just homestead and just do YouTube, we make soaps and stuff and just do that stuff and do stuff that we enjoy and be home more. But when somebody at work comes up like, hey man, I got chickens. I started with chickens because of your video, or you were talking about gardening and stuff the other day, and we live in a subdivision, but we put in a 4x8 garden bed in there, and we're growing our own tomatoes and stuff, and I love it. Like we've given friends like seed starts or tomatoes and all this stuff before, and it's really awesome, and I think that's really rewarding. And like Lauren said, eating everything from your place, and the crazy thing is. 100 years ago, that was your only option.
I know, yeah. I mean,
And
we're
like,
so far removed.
The supermarket it didn't start until like the 50s, like the grocery, like what we know as a supermarket
store,
or whatever.
right. Mm-hmm.
And so but now we talk about it all the time. People are so far removed. There's I don't like the brown eggs. I don't like the brown eggs. I'm like, it's the same chickens, man. It just depends on what they eat.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like I had a guy at work who. He's like, oh, I don't want any of that goat cheese you make. It's probably got blood in it. And I'm like, blood? I milk the thing. Like, we take better care of these goats than any cow or goat you've ever seen from the store.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think educating people in the right way and letting them know that a lot of what they know is just silliness, I think.
I had a lady, I was washing clothes at the laundromat last night, and Carol was talking about us doing, she was so excited about the corned beef. Like, that was a huge thing for us, was taking a brisket that was from our cow, pickling it, doing all the, flip-flopping for a week, putting it in, cooking it, serving it. Like, it was really, really, like, we won't do corned beef from the store ever again. Like, it just won't happen. It was really good. Now, granted, we probably could have cut it, like, nice and super thin, like, how they do. But, I mean, it didn't matter. Perfect. It was delicious. And, but we started talking about the corned beef, and she overheard Carol talking about it. And she was probably late 50s, early 60s. And she started asking Carol questions about it. And she's like, yeah, we're probably going to have cabbage from the garden. We might have sauerkraut. And she's like, sauerkraut? She's like, yes, ma'am, we make our own sauerkraut. And she was just fascinated. And she started telling Carol, she's like, when I was little, I used to help my grandmother do all of that stuff. She raised a hog. She did all that stuff. She's like, but for the life of me, I wouldn't know where to begin. She's like, I know it exists, but like we're so far removed from it, we don't know. The other side of that story, though, that's really cool is, a lot of our kids, when they're doing the chores and stuff, it's like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, you got to shoot them with a pellet gun.
Oh, they hate it, and they hate it, right? But when we were going home last night, Carol was like, I really take for granted what I have available at my house. Mm-hmm. She's like, I didn't even think about, it's like things that we don't even think about. Jellies. She's like, we make our own blueberry jelly, our own blackberry, raspberry. She's like, we make our own sauerkraut. She's like, most people don't do that. I was like, you're absolutely right. Most people don't do that. That's pretty cool. So, they kind of, of course she'll forget that next week or today when she's doing her chores. But at least in that moment, she was kind of like, I think I probably take for granted some of the things that, like, how cool my life is, at least food-wise, because I get some stuff that a lot of people don't even...
So true.
If they can't afford to buy it, they're never going to have it, you know?
And
so
I think that there's a channel, Ice Age Farmer, and he mainly just covers news and stuff like that, and what's going on and like this kind of, you know, lifestyle and everything in the world. And he had a video where he was talking about in Texas, when, you know, anybody who's in Texas right now knows that, you know, when they had all the power issues and all the ice storms and stuff coming in, it was ruining their food supply. Like, it just like that, you had a massive state that could be its own country. Oh yeah. In reality, I'm not trying to like start conspiracy, but in reality, that's one of the only states that could be their own little place. And just like that, you had you know thousands of people who didn't have food, and that's crazy. And this is one of the most, you know, the first world countries that there are, and but it's almost been to our detriment, because I mean, if you go to 10 people just down the road, you know, at some store or anything, they don't know how, they've never chopped a log before, they've never done anything.
Well, you know, it was like when the COVID thing first came out and they started locking everything down. There's a group of us that talk on Polo, and I said, you do realize we just went from being lower middle class to the haves, because we didn't have to go run out there and panic buy toilet paper, or we didn't have to panic buy food or anything, because we just had to walk out into our gardens.
Well, and that was the cool thing, is because when everything really started to shut down was right in springtime, so everything was really starting to grow, and you know, you may have to be patient for a little while, but we were starting to get food, you know. So
I think everybody thought homesteading was weird until last year, and they're like, well, maybe. And I don't know how many people would come to us at work, and that we had the people a couple times, the people from the Chinese food restaurant were like, can we buy your chicken? Like, no.
I have a cousin. A lot of my family, they find what we do interesting. But at the end of the day, it's what we do, not what they do. I had a cousin who loves what I do, but she's very much an Etsy, Pinteresty kind of, you know, person. And she just, in the middle of everything, just like reached out to me, and she's like, to talk to me about chickens. And I was like, what? Please tell me you're joking. She's like, no, we're locked down up where they were. They were in northern New York, and schools were shut down. Nobody was going anywhere. And so she, you know, asked us where to get her hens. She got the hens that she needed. And now they're getting eggs. And now, I mean, they only have like, what, 4 or maybe six chickens, 6 hens. And it was so funny because her daughter was like really into it, wanting to know everything. And so she would ask me questions and stuff. And it was hilarious because she was like, well, what am I supposed to do when they stop laying eggs? And I said, do you really want the answer to that? She's like, probably not. I said, well, then this is what you do. After about 2 years, you find somebody who wants chickens that might be okay with what you're really supposed to do with them. Let them live out the last maybe year-ish, 2-ish of a slow egg production. They will do with the chicken what they need. You take the money from the person that's giving you maybe $10 for that hen, and you go buy more chicks. Like, that's basically all you're going to do. Because they're not doing roosters.
Jason has to read that question. I think it's important.
About the toilet paper? Comfrey.
Comfrey? No, not comfrey. No, we had toilet paper. We were good. See, the thing is that we had started our big plans for 2020, and one of the things that we kept talking about was toilet paper. She's tired. It's been a long day. But toilet paper was a big thing. So we actually had people who would come to our house and they would bring us a case of toilet paper.
They brought toilet paper.
Did they?
Yeah,
Did you bring
rice and a few things?
You hope you didn't use the rice that way. Man.
Oh, God, no.
That'd be weird. That'd be real weird.
All right, well.
I mean, push come to shove, I was just going to hook a water hose up and just have it ready.
Well, you know,
bidet.
America, we were like, it's not normal to use toilet paper. Actually, bidets are more common in the rest of the world.
If you look now, bidets are pretty common in the grocery stores.
I actually saw a commercial for some pretty fancy bidets that have like a heated seat and all this stuff. I've never considered it before, but I'm
Spend
actually.
enough time on the toilet. We don't even make it any fancier. If you just
But I mean, if it can, maybe I can just take a whole shower in there now.
Albany Mountain said, ouch, I would not wipe with comfrey. No, I wouldn't either.
You gotta sneak some poison ivy in on him.
No, he's thinking of Mullen.
Mullen, that's it.
Yeah, Mullen. So, all right, well, we're losing Lauren quickly. They still have to drive to get home, so. Excuse me.
Well, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Make sure you go over and check out Cattywampus Acres on YouTube. Give them the subscribe button. Hit that bell. And hit all notifications for them. You'll definitely enjoy what you see over there. And you'll definitely learn something over there, too. So go over there. Show them some Big Bear love. Just remember who your favorite Jason is. That was me.
It's not me. It's just
And like always, from Robyn and I, remind you to plant smiles.
Grow giggles. Say it. I want you to do it.
And we will see you guys next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Have a good one.
God bless.
I thought I was too. I drank too much earlier.
Good times.
I'm getting a headache. I think I'm dehydrated.
Me too. That's what I'm
You've been
thinking.
drinking
I'm like,
sparkling
it's
water all day
I
long.
know.
part of it is I'm by that heater and I've gotten warm.
Be careful on that step going down. That one thing is loose.
Oh.
See you guys later.